Hi everyone, myself Dr. Lakshmi Prasad, working as an associate professor in the Department of Data Science in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. In this video, I'm going to discuss about what are the various definitions and terminology in R programming. So the very first question is that what are the various features of R programming language? So it should be a statistical feature of R. And so here mainly this R programming is going to be used in statistics. So it should be some of the most basic statistics terms what we can able to call it as mean, mode, and median. So these are the also known as measures of central tendency. So mainly this R programming is going to be used to evaluate this kind of measurements. And second one is that static graphics. So here R is going to be rich in facilities for creating and developing interesting statistic graphics, and R contains functionality for many plots types, including graphic maps and mosaic plots, biplots, and other kind of lists go on. So mainly this R programming is going to be used in for creating many and developing many graphics. So some of the parts like bar chart, pie chart, and histogram like this. So we can able to construct it. And next one, this one is also going to be used in probability distributions. So the probability distribution plays a vital role in statistics, and by using R can easily handle various types of probability distribution such as binomial distribution, nominal distribution, chi-square distribution, and many more. And data analysis is going to provide the large, coherent, and integrated collection of tools for data analysis. Okay, so here there is some of the statistical features of R programming. So mainly this R programming is going to be used in basic statistics, static graphs, probability distribution, and then data analysis. And next one is that what is R? So R is a programming language and environment for statistical computing and graphics. So R is nothing but a programming language and environment for statistical computing and graphics. So it has wide variety of statistical and graphical techniques. So which makes it one of the most popular language used by the statisticians and then data analysts, researchers, marketers to retrieve, clean, analyze, and visualize the present data. So R is a free and open source software, which means that the source code is publicly accessible and then modified as users or developers to see it. And R compilers and runs on wide variety of platforms like Unix platforms, Windows, and Mac OS also. Okay, so R is a programming language, so which is going to be an environment for statistical environment and statistical graphics. So it has wide variety of statistical and graphical techniques, but in which it makes it one of the most popular languages used by statisticians, data analysts, researchers, and marketers to retrieve, clean, analyze, visualize, present the data. So R is a free and open source software, which means the source code is publicly accessible or compiles and runs on variety of platforms as well. The next one, what is an R package? So R package is nothing but a collection of many functions with comprehensive documents. And package mainly consists of R functions, data example, help files, namespace, and description. So these are the main functions that are available in the package. So a core set of packages also include installation of R. So additionally, if we want to need additional packages, then we have to be install it. Mainly, these packages can be downloaded in variety of repositories like Comprehensive or Archive Network from Bioconductor, GitHub, ArtForge, and many more. We are going to have that. And the packages or extend the functionality of R by enabling additional visual capabilities, statistical methods, and displaying specific functions. So just to name a few, R is nothing but the R package is going to have many functions like date functions, help functions, namespace and various description or packages are available. So while installing the R itself, we are going to have so many packages installed. Suppose if I want to additionally include that additional packages, then we have to go for many repositories like components or network, bioconductor, GitHub, and Forge. And some of the data types in R will be numeric, integer, character, factor, and logical. So numeric means which is able to contain decimals as well as the whole numbers, and integer contains only the whole numbers, and character is going to hold character strings. And vector contain only the predefined values and is going to be stored at categorical data. And logical, that means you can able to take only two values like either true or false. And some other will be vector. So vector is nothing but a representation of one dimension, which is used to represent a sequence of data elements of some basic type, and diamond two dimensions like the vector but additionally contain dimension attribute, and two or more dimensions should be whole multi-dimensional data, which should be the special case of two dimensions. And data frame like table like data object, which is going to allow different data types from different columns. And list is nothing but collection of data objects, and each element in the list should be a data object. See, numeric data type can store as well as whole numbers, and it should also create how can able to create a numeric data object means simply you have to write so x, the value of x is 4.5, then simply I have to write it. So I can by typing x value, then you can the value is going to be displayed. And similarly the y is this. And suppose if I want to know what type of class of x and y, so I have the function like class of x. So the class function is used to check the data type of an object, and class y also I can able to know that. And similarly, if I want to convert into an integer, then we are going to have a function called as dot integer of x. So if I'm going to write it, so previously these values should be the numeric. Okay, suppose if I want to convert into integer, then I have to write as dot integer function of x, so that the value is going to be converted into integer. So in order to know that, so I have to make use of function class of x. And next one, to create an integer variable in R, so I'm going to use the integer function. And similarly, if I want to use this, by default it should be numeric only, and if I want to convert integer, then I have to make integer function. And character object is going to use to represent the character strings, so that may be represented in single quotations or it may be represented in double quotations as well. So normally if I want to convert into character, then I have to make use of this character function here. So this is the welcome to the world of R. There should be a string, and if I'm going to specify some value in double quotation, then automatically this 4.7 should be an integer itself. Sorry, string only. And factor is other kind of data object which can able to store both the integers and as well as the strings. So to create an object x, so create a vector of high, medium, low, like this I'm created. So how can I able to combine this? I can by make use of this CR function. To check whether the object is a factor or character, I have to know. So for that I have to use a factor of x, and similarly I can make use of this is character of x here. So to create a factor using object factor to create an object using factor function, so what we have to say that is how to make use of this factor of x function. So factor is a categorical variable that can be able to take one of the fixed or finite set of possibilities. So all these possibilities what can able to call it as levels, and this one can be obtained by making use of level of function. So in a factor, we have so many types of value, high, medium, low. So which is going to repeat it so many number of times. So what I'm going to do that is instead of showing the repeated values, so the unique values are going to be shown here. So if I make use of levels of x function. And next one is the logical data type objects can be of two types. Either it should be a true or it may be a false. So create an object x and then send the value y, right? So by make use of integer of function. So here y value is this and z value is this. Suppose if I want to write it, so y is greater than z, then I have to show it as false here. And vector, so vector is also nothing but uh, three types of vectors, like numeric, character, and logical. So all the elements of the vector should be of same type, and they should can able to know that to conversion. Then I have to make use of as dot vector of function. So numeric vector, they should be character vector, and they should be the logical vector. In all these functions, we have to make use of CF function only. So in this CF function, I can able to combine both the integer as well as the strings. Next one is matrix. So matrix is nothing but a two-dimensional data structure, which is going to be hold values of matrix. So additionally, I have to create an n row and n column. So these are the additional rows, additional attributes to specify whether the dimension of the matrix. So if the matrix is of the form uh, 3 by 3, how to mention this should be the n row and this should be the n column. Okay, so how the function is going to be created is that, so matrix of function. And if I'm going to specify by row equal to true, also all the values are going to be stored in row wise. So they should be the row wise. If I'm going to write like this, if I'm not mentioning this one, so the values are going to be stored in column wise. And next one is arrays, is nothing but a data structure which is going to be hold multi-dimensional values. So here what I'm going to say that is, here how to mention the list of values from 1 to 24 and how to specify the dimensions as well. Normally this array of function is going to be used to create an array in R, which is going to give the first argument and dimensions also. And data frame is a two-dimensional data array-like structure. So it is a list of vectors of equal width, and data frames are nothing but the primary data structure in R. To convert an object into data frame, you have to make use of function like as dot frame of function. So to create a data from different vectors, you have to create three different vectors of different types. So I have to clump all these values in the form of data frame. So data frame means which is going to shown in the form of a table, which looks like. Okay, so how can we able to create it? So by making use of a data.frame function, we have to combine all of them into a table. A list is a data structure which is going to have different types of components of mixed type to convert uh, by making use of a list of function. So normally this one is going to be created by using list of function here. So this is one vector and this is another vector. So by making use of the list, I can able to combine of all the vectors so that all the values are going to be stored in the form of lists. And what are the advantages of R? So R is the most comprehensive statistical package. So as the technology and concepts are going to appear, so the R language is going to become an open source and we can able to run anywhere at any time. And R programming is going to be used mainly for GNU or Linux and Windows operating system. And R programming is nothing but a cross platform, so which can able to run in any operating system. And everyone in R, everyone is welcome to provide new packages, bug fixes, and code enhancements. Okay, so these are the various advantages of R. And why should we use R? It should be a great source for data analysis, data visualization, data science, and machine learning. So it provides many statistical techniques such as statistical tests, classification, clustering, and data reduction. So it is easy to draw the graphs in R like pie chart, histogram, box plot, scatter plot, etc. It works on different platforms. So Windows, Macs, and Linux. It is open source and free, and it has a large community support. It has many packages like a library of function that can be used to solve different problems. Okay, so why are going to use this R? So R should be easy to draw the graphs and mainly like pie charts histogram, box plot, scatter plot, etc. And it should be easily works in any kind of environment like Windows environment, Mac, and Linux. It should be an open source and free, and it should also have large community support. It has many packages like library and functions that can be used to solve different problems. What are the disadvantages are is another question. So in R programming language, some of the standard packages is less than the perfect one. So R command gives the little pressure to memory management. So the R programming language is able to consume all the memory available. In R basics, so nobody is able to compile if something does not work. And R programming is much slower than other programming languages such as Python and MATLAB. So these are the some of the disadvantages of R. Okay, so in R programming, some of the standard packages should be less than the perfect one and should be able to give the little pressure to memory management is another disadvantage. And sometimes it does not work if nobody is going to compile them. And R programming should be little bit slower than other programming languages like Python and MATLAB. Next one, what are the applications of R? So we are going to use this R mainly for data science, so which is going to give a broad variety of libraries and that should be related to statistics. And R is going to be used in many quantitative analysts as programming tool, and it should also helps in data importing and cleaning. So R is the most prevalent language, so many data analysts and research programmers are going to use it. Hence, it can be used as a fundamental tool for finance. And tech giants like Google, Facebook, Bing, Twitter, Accenture, and Wipro, and the many are going to be used are as nowadays. So these are some of the various applications. So first one, data science R plays a vital role, and in many quantitative programming tools for importing and cleaning R is going to be a very important one, and R should be a most prevalent language, and many of the big companies like Google, Twitter, Facebook is going to be used R programming nowadays. So what is the syntax of R? So R is the most popular language that is going to be used for statistical computing and data analysis with the support of 10,000 free packages in Sidan repository. So like other programming languages, R should also have specific syntax when compared to the other programming languages, and it should be make use of most powerful feature as well. And next one is that, so list out the data types in R. So what are the various data types in R programming? So here the variables are not going to be declared in R programming. So you can see, so we have to mention the declaration of variables. It is an array like this we have to create. In Java also we have to mention the declaration of variables, and in C++ also have to declare the variables. In Python we should no need of declaration of variables here, and in R programming also no need of declaration of variables here. Directly you can assign the values to the variables. So some of the data types in R programming will be vectors, list, matrices, arrays, factors, and then data frames. So what are the various operators in R programming? So is that, so first one is arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operators, and miscellaneous operators. So these are the various types of operators in R programming. And next one is the describe about R functions. So R functions are nothing but building blocks of the program. So it is going to be perform various tasks in multiple items, and the function is going to be accept the input arguments and produce the output by excluding valid or comments. So R is going to be created by using command function. So the general structure of the function should be as follows. So function of arguments and function body. So the function name. So the one difference is that, so in C programming you have to mention the return type and the function name, and we are going to pass the arguments here. So, but in R, this should be in C. We have to specify the variable here. So for that variable, I have to assign the function here. So like this, we have to be declared the functions in our program, and then we have to write down the body of the function. So normally the functions will be of two types, like call by value and call by reference. Okay. So call by value is nothing but so where we can able to be send the value directly to the function. And reference means we have to pass the address of the variable as an argument to the function. And different categories of function. So normally you're going to have four categories. So first one is function with return values and with arguments, with return values, without arguments, without return values, with arguments, and without arguments and without return values. So like this, we are going to have different categories of function in R also. And next one is what describe about the vectors in R. So for creating a vector, we need more than one element. So that one should be created by use of C function here. We can able to combine all the elements by making of C function. So here first one is that list. So list is an OR object which is going to contain many different types of elements inside like vectors, functions, and even the list as well. A matrix is nothing but a two-dimensional rectangular data set, so which can be created by using a vector input matrix function. Okay, so the vectors are going to be created by making of C function. So in similar fashion, so some of the vectors if I want to write list. So list is also our object which is going to have different types of elements inside it, like vectors, functions, and even other lists as well. And matrix is nothing but a two-dimensional rectangular data set, so which can be created by using vector input to the matrix function. And next question is that what is an array? So while matrices are going to be conformed to two dimensions, then array can be of different dimensions. And the array function takes a dim attributes, so that which can able to create the required number of dimensions. So by the dim attribute, I can able to specify how many number of dimensions I want to specify. The next one, what is a factor? So factor is nothing but an order object which is going to create a vector, and it is able to store the vector along the distinct values of elements in the vector. And the labels are always a character, irrespective of whether it is a numeric or it may be a character or it may be a boolean. That should be the input method, and mainly useful in statistical modeling. So R factor is used mainly useful in statistical modeling. So all the labels are always character irrespective of whether it is a numeric character or boolean, and all our thing is nothing but a collection of vectors with distinct values of elements in vector. And next one is the describe about data frame. So here the tabular data is going to be shown. Unlike the matrix in data frame, each column is able to contain different modes of data. So the first thing should be the numeric, while the second column should be the character, and third column can be the logical. So it should be a list of vectors of equal height, and data frames can be created by making of this data.frame function. The next one is that what are the various rules are going to be used for declaring the variable. So for variable to how can able to mention it. Suppose I'm going to write like this. It should be a valid variable. It should be has letters, numbers, or score. And the next valid is that dot variable name, comma dot variable dot name. So this should also be a valid one. So we should be able to start with dot operator, and but dot should be followed by manner. And under invalid will be that. So variable underscore where underscore name person. So this should not be allowed. And The variable name should not be start with the number, so this should also be invalid. And so the variable started with dot is correct, but uh, the starting dot followed by number should not be there. Okay, and the variable that is going to be started with underscore should also not possible. The next one is that describe about our objects in programming language. So variables are going to declare some data types, and the variables are going to be assigned with our objects, and the data type of our object becomes the data type of the variable. So everything is just like an our object. So in programming languages, variables are not declared or some of the data types, and variables are going to be assigned with our objects. Then describe what the various R data structures. So first thing is that vector. So vector is nothing but the basic one-dimensional data structure in R. And list is nothing but the generic vectors which can contain any type of data and data structure. And matrix is nothing but a two-dimensional data structure in R. Not available with R. The single value is known as scalar, and the scalar is a vector of length. So the data structures will be of R vector. So vector is nothing but the basic one-dimensional data structure, and lists are the generic vectors which can contain any data type, and matrix will be the basic two-dimensional data structure, and our variable with a single value is known as scalar. And some of the data structures in R should be factors. So factor is nothing but a vector that contain only the predefined values and is going to store categorical data. And data frame is nothing but a list of equal length vectors. We should also have shares the properties of both matrix and list. And array is a n-dimensional data structure. So where the matrix is the special case of two dimensions. So like this, we are going to have different kinds of data structures in our program. So factor is the one which will be able to contain all the predefined values. And data frame is the list which is going to have equal length vectors. And array is nothing but n-dimensional array length structure. So where the matrix should be special case of two dimensions. The next one is that some mention some of the R data types. So like numeric, which can contains only the whole numbers, and integers, which contains only whole number, characters, which can able to hold only the character strings, and factor is nothing but only the predefined values it contain, and which is going to be used to store the categorical data. And the logical means which can able to take the values either true or false. And what are the some other data types in R programming? So for that, vector. So vector is one dimension one. So where the sequence of elements is going to be stored, and matrix is a two-dimensional data structure where which can able to store multi-dimensional data. The array is nothing but more than two or more dimensions. So and then data frame should also be a two-dimension. It should be a table like data objects which can able to contain different types of data elements and models. A list should be a collection of data objects where the elements in the list is of data object. Our next one is that what are the or conditional statements? So in many programming languages, the conditional statements is same. So in all, we are going to have C and C++, and Java and Python. So all conditional statements will be if, simple if, else if, etc. And loop statements will be common for both the while, for, while, and do. So these are the common conditional statements in many programming languages. So here also the same for our programming. If statement, so if the condition is true, then the statement gets executed. But if false, then nothing is going to happen. And suppose how can I able to write this? Suppose if I want to check the condition of x, whether it should be a positive or negative. So how can I able to say that? So if that value is greater than 0, then it should be positive. If that value is less than 0, it should be negative. So for x is equal to 5, so can I write if x is equal to 0, print positive number. And Okay. I can also check the character object also. So the use of each character of function. So I can try. So if character of x is true, then we have to print the value of x. And if else is the under the conditional statement that is going to be used in vector in order to retrieve the sum of the parts of the vector. Like so, this is the initial vector we have. Suppose if I'm going to positive is 2, then it should be even number, otherwise it should be an odd number. So among this list of elements, I can able to segregate whether the odd numbers and then even numbers as well. And next one is that for loop. So loops are going to be used whenever the block of codes is going to be executed. And the syntax for this for loop is for and then loop variable in the sequence of statement 1 and statement 2. So the loop variable should be set a value for each iteration of the loop, and sequence is the vector assigned to the loop variable. And so here the statements will be body for consisting of a block of program statements contained with curly brackets. Okay. So how can I able write? Suppose I want to generate a list of 1 to 10 numbers. How can I able write? So for I in sequence statement 1 and statement 2 brackets of a pattern. So like this we are going to create a for loop in our programming. So here the loop variable is going to be starts with a new value and each iteration of the variable, and n is the vector object that is going to assign the loop variable and the sequence. So this should be the body for consist of a block of statement that is going to be contained within the curly brace. So these are the some of the conditional statements what I'm going to discuss in our programming. And these conditional statements will be common in many of programming languages. So mainly the condition should be the logical expression, and simplest form of if should be if statement, if else, and then nested if else if ladder like this. And the loop statements will be loop, simple loop, and for loop. Suppose if I want to know whether how can I able to check whether the number is even or odd. How can I able to say that? So the 96.5 is an even number or odd number. How can I able to write? So if x percentage 2 equal to 0, if the remainder is 0, then you have to print this should be an even number. Else, how can you write this should be an odd number. Okay. So like this, you can able to make use of conditional statements in all as well. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.